I married the most dangerous man in Africa. It shocked the whole underworld. I was a broke Ugandan college student. My family lived in poverty. One day, I met a billionaire South African mafia. He is the man everyone fears. Against the odds, I fell in love and married. This is part 11. If you are new here, I recommend starting the story from the beginning. I just wanted to pass by the shop this morning. Just small things only. Bread, milk, maybe some fresh Sukuma wiki. Nothing big, nothing hard. But I couldn't just step out like that. I had to wait. Wait for the driver. Wait for the guard. Time started moving slowly, like it was dragging its feet, while I stood there in the sun, looking at the same road I've already seen too many times from inside the car window. I told myself I was overthinking. AMINA, stop. It's just how things are done. You're lucky. You should be thankful. And I was thankful, honestly. I know where I come from. I know what I left behind. But still, that small wish to just walk out by myself, it slowly disappeared while I was waiting. I felt like a small girl again, like I needed to ask first before doing the simplest thing. By the time the car came, the annoyance inside me had already turned into quiet acceptance. Later, I tried to go somewhere small, just that little cafe near the corner, not even far from the house. I thought it was harmless, but the guard stepped in front of me, very polite, very calm, almost even sorry. Sorry, miss, you can't go there right now. No shouting, no rudeness, just a firm stop I didn't see coming. I felt shy more than angry. My face became hot, and I even laughed at myself quietly. Why is a whole married woman needing permission like this? He was not harsh, not bad, just careful. Careful in a way that made me realize how carefully I was also supposed to move. Even in places I thought I could just choose and go freely. When I went back inside the house, I tried to busy myself with small chores. I started noticing things I had not paid attention to before. How neighbors here greet differently from back home in Uganda. Not that big open smile, not that warm "you're welcome" feeling. Here it's more controlled, more careful. Even the workers in the house, when Thabo is nearby, they lower their voices. They pause before answering me, even if I ask something simple. Every small thing kept reminding me. I am still learning rules that nobody sat me down to explain. I told myself again, maybe this is just how it is in Johannesburg. I'm adjusting. I'm learning. But deep inside, I kept wondering if I was adjusting to something I don't even fully understand yet. That afternoon, I found myself folding baby clothes that had arrived without anyone even asking me. Small socks, soft onesies in light colors, warm blankets. I passed my fingers over them, trying to feel excited, but instead I just felt strange. Like other people somehow knew my day before I knew it myself. One of the staff casually mentioned when the driver would come or where I would be going next. I stopped folding for a moment. They knew. They knew where I would be before I even decided. I told myself again it was just organization, just security, just all those things I agreed I was blessed to have. And I am blessed. I don't forget that. But that thought sat quietly on my chest, heavy but not loud. I dropped the clothes gently into the basket and leaned back. The house was clean, peaceful, almost too calm, and I felt still. A kind of cold, quiet stillness inside my chest. Nothing bad had happened. Not really. But I felt uncomfortable in a way I had never felt before. By evening, I was sitting alone on the couch, watching the city lights of Johannesburg blinking outside the big windows. I kept telling myself, you are safe, you are loved, you are provided for. Again and again until my breathing became easier. But still, I couldn't ignore that something had shifted. I am safer now than I have ever been in my life. But inside, I feel smaller, like one piece of me has quietly been folded into the routine without anyone asking me. Nothing terrible has happened. Not yet. I just can't remember the last time I chose something for myself. I didn't know afternoons can be this long until I had nowhere I'm supposed to be. The baby clothes came yesterday. Very tiny, tiny things. I'm not even sure I know how to fold properly. I sat on the bed for hours, just pressing the soft material between my fingers, trying to imagine the shape of this small body I haven't even seen yet. The colors are too bright, almost like they are laughing at me with their happiness. While I sit there alone, wondering who I'm meant to share this moment with. Nobody asked me if I wanted them brought. Nobody even told me they were coming. They just arrived like that, and I folded them slowly, like I was counting how patient I can be. Today I cooked. Proper Ugandan food. My hands just moved on their own, doing what they have known since I was a girl, pounding the spices, peeling matoke, frying onions the same way my mother showed me back home. The smell filled the whole kitchen, even the sitting room. For a moment it felt familiar, but when I finally sat down to eat, the food tasted empty. I thought about my family in Uganda, how they would laugh at the way I cut things too big, how my young ones would fight for the first bite from the pan. Here, it's only me and this baby inside me. And a house that stays so quiet it feels like it is breathing slowly, carefully. When Tabo came back in the evening, I told myself maybe now things will feel different. We sat together on the couch. The TV was on, but I don't think any of us was really watching. He leaned back, looking tired, his hands resting on his knees. I kept playing with the edge of my shirt. We were sitting next to each other, but I felt like I was still waiting for him to come. Yet he was already there. I was already there. And still, it felt like something had not arrived. No talking. No small jokes. Just two people in one room, acting like the sound from the television is important. I picked up my phone. My mother's name was at the top of the screen. I stared at it for so long, my finger just hovering there. I didn't call. I couldn't call. What would I even say? How do you explain that you're staying in a house bigger than the whole place you grew up in, that everything you need is provided, that you don't struggle for rent or food anymore? But inside you feel like something has been removed? I didn't want to make them worry. And the truth is, I don't even understand it myself. So the screen just went black and I put the phone down. That night I went to bed early, not because I was sleepy, but because the quiet during the day was already too much, and at night it becomes even louder. Every small sound, the fridge humming, the house settling, a car passing far away, reminded me how alone I am here. Sleeping felt like hiding, not escaping exactly. There is nothing clear enough to escape from, but like pressing pause. A small, safe pause where I don't have to think too much. I lay on my back, looking at the ceiling, and I finally understood something that has been growing slowly inside me these past weeks. Nothing bad is happening. Truly, nothing. No one is shouting. No one is hurting me. And still, something is not there. Something is missing. I don't even know how to call it by name. I don't know how to ask for it. It's not about fighting. It's not about cruelty. It's just a space, an absence. I kept telling myself this must be normal, but I don't even remember what normal is supposed to feel like anymore. I've been here in Johannesburg for some weeks now, trying to understand this life that is very far from the one I knew in Uganda. This city never keeps quiet. It is always moving, always making noise, always shining. But inside this house, it feels empty, too big, too silent. There is security everywhere, guards, gates, cameras, yet somehow I feel more open, more exposed than I have ever felt before. Some afternoons, I just stand at the kitchen window and look down at the road for no reason. I don't even know what I'm waiting to see. When I cook posho, the smell takes me straight back home, but I sit and eat alone, my fork hitting the plate I served myself. Sometimes I walk around the sitting room slowly, holding my baby bump like maybe it will give me strength to speak, to ask questions, to feel important. Other times, I remove a small notebook from the drawer and start writing lists. Things I might need, people I should call, documents I must keep safe, all those just-in-case thoughts that nobody else will ever read. He comes back home late. Always late. Around 11. Sometimes even close to midnight. He looks tired, distracted. He passes me in the corridor like I am part of the house, like the space I'm standing in doesn't really count. We might say one small thing about the weather, or we might say nothing at all. Meanwhile, the baby is kicking inside me, and I'm trying so hard to make him feel something real. My love, my longing, my questions. But it's like he is not there to receive it. The small plans that felt like they were keeping me alive, going for a walk, eating dinner together quietly, even going for clinic checkups, they disappear without warning. Sometimes later he says sorry. Sometimes he doesn't even mention it. And other times, he just vanishes for hours. I find myself standing near the window, phone in my hand, my heart jumping every time it rings, imagining all kinds of reasons why he is not here. The hours move slowly. Then he returns, calm, normal, like nothing happened. Like whatever is happening outside these walls is more important than what is happening inside them. Sometimes he touches my stomach gently. Soft hands, careful, protective. He whispers, "I've got you." And for a second, I want to believe it fully. But when I look into his eyes, searching for something more, a connection, a deeper word, anything, I only see distance. It feels like he loves a world I cannot see, cannot step into, cannot belong to. Not completely. Not me. Then that quiet understanding starts creeping into my heart. I know he loves me. I know he would never allow anyone to hurt me or this baby. That I'm sure of. But I also know that in that moment, that hour, that day, I am not part of what is most important to him. There is a life he lives behind that calm face, and I am standing outside it. The space between us keeps stretching quietly, endlessly, and I can feel it sitting heavy on my chest. I've started going to bed earlier. I lie in the darkness and listen to my own breathing. Sometimes I imagine a different kind of life, one where I can decide things for myself, for me and this baby, without waiting, without asking first. In my head, I count small things: passports, papers, money, the safest corner to hide something if I ever needed to, just in case. Sometimes I rest my head on his chest and count his heartbeat, like maybe that rhythm can make me feel secure. And for a small moment, it works. Until I remember that even when I am that close to him, his mind is somewhere else, outside these walls, thinking about things I cannot name, responsibilities I cannot help carry. I still trust him. I still love him. That love is there, steady and deep. But I don't know if this kind of love, this quiet, constant, painful love, is enough to protect us, or if it is only enough to keep me here, stuck, holding on. Something would always change the moment I entered a room, not in a loud way, not with shouting or drama, just quietly. And slowly, I started seeing it clearly. At first, I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe I was just too emotional, too tired, too pregnant. But it kept happening. People would be talking, then suddenly stop in the middle of a sentence. Laughter would just die like that. Someone's hand would freeze in the air. Sometimes I would look at Thabo, and he would look back at me with that calm, gentle smile. Warm, reassuring, but not answering the questions already forming inside my heart. Questions I hadn't even found courage to say out loud. It began with small things. One day, a worker in the house said casually, "We were told not to mention it," and my whole body went still. Not mention what? Had I done something wrong? Was it about danger? Was I even allowed to ask? I just smiled politely and nodded like I understood, then walked away. But inside, something heavy dropped into my chest. A quiet fear I couldn't explain. Then I started realizing my things were not always where I left them. My phone, my laptop. They were not stolen, not hidden, just moved. When I asked, they said, for security reasons. I tried to question it once. The person just looked at me softly, but in a way that ended the conversation. After that, I stopped asking. Even my own belongings did not fully belong to me anymore. One evening, I asked him carefully, choosing my words like someone stepping on weak ground. "Is it safe to go downstairs now?" "We're fine, don't worry," he said, calm, warm, like that was enough. I looked at him for a long moment, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Fine? Fine in what way? Fine for who? The words were soft, but they hurt more than if he had shouted, because they left me outside. Then there were the voices, always behind closed doors, always low, serious, urgent. Words I didn't fully understand, but still remembered. Not her. Not yet. Sometimes in another language I could only half follow. I would replay those words in my head again and again, like I had stolen something I wasn't meant to hear. My heart would start beating fast. My hands would grip the kitchen counter, like it was the only solid thing near me. But nobody would explain anything. After some time, I could not pretend anymore. It was not one mistake. Not one misunderstanding. Not just overprotection. It was a pattern. A system. And slowly it entered my mind. This was not only protection, it was exclusion. I began noticing all the small things that made me feel like a visitor in my own life. Doors I wasn't supposed to open. Rooms I didn't enter. Instructions I never asked for but had memorized. Where the emergency exits are. Where to stand. What to do. My stomach kept growing, reminding me that my baby is already here, already depending on me. And I started to understand that knowing less might not actually mean being safer. I tried to hold myself steady. I cooked food from home, proper Ugandan meals. I folded the baby clothes that arrived without anyone talking to me about them. Sometimes I would just sit alone and watch the sunlight move slowly across the floor, telling myself this is normal. Thabo would come back home tired, distracted, his smile still soft, his hand still gentle when he placed it on my belly. But the space between us had become bigger. Silence would return quickly, faster than comfort ever did. Sometimes we sat next to each other watching TV we were not really watching. I would pick up my phone to call my mother, then stop. I was afraid she would hear something in my voice. Afraid she would know I am slowly sinking into something I cannot name. Yes, I am safer here physically. I know that. But inside, I feel like I am quietly falling apart, and what hurts most is that I still love him while feeling like this. I hate that the same man who carries my child, who built this life for us, can also make me feel invisible in my own home. Love and fear have tied themselves together inside me so tightly that sometimes it feels hard to breathe. I started making small lists in my head, not out loud, not yet, just quietly. Where are my documents? My passport? My money? If something happened, if I needed to leave even for some hours, would I be able to? I tried to chase those thoughts away, but they stayed, like small seeds planted in my mind, growing silently while I smile and sit at the table eating alone. I love him. I truly do. I trust him with my life, with this baby, but I don't trust the air around me. I don't trust this space I live in. I don't feel like I am part of my own life anymore. And that understanding, small, quiet, painful, cut deeper than any fight ever could. I did not shout. I did not cry. I did not demand explanations. I just began to notice. And I realized that noticing is heavier than being told. I have been quiet for many weeks now, just there in the sitting room, folding those tiny baby clothes alone while the TV makes a low noise that Thabo left on but is not even watching. I cook Ugandan food, real food from home, and it stays there untouched. The smell fills the whole house and carries me back to the small kitchen I used to share with my mother, my sisters, my friends. I keep my phone on my lap, my finger resting on my mother's name, but I never press call. I've told myself it is better like that, safer, more peaceful. But the truth is, I am afraid of this silence that has covered us, covered my whole life. I started noticing things. At first, small things, then patterns I cannot ignore anymore. People stop talking when I enter a room. My phone and laptop get moved for security reasons without anyone explaining properly. Instructions I never asked for that make me feel like a small girl again. I feel aware, like my eyes are open and seeing everything, but I have no power to change any of it. Every day I hold those small baby onesies in my hands, tracing the little folds with my fingers, holding my stomach and asking inside my heart, why can't I know? Why can't I understand what I am inside of? Yesterday, I gathered courage and asked him. It was not dramatic. I did not shout. I did not throw things. I just stood there in his study, my heart tight, my hands brushing the smooth desk like I needed something solid to hold me steady. I looked at him properly, really looked at him, and I said, Thabo, what really happened that night? I need to know. There was silence. The air felt heavy like before rain. Even the security people and the workers in the house seemed to move more carefully. They did not look at me. Their hands kept busy with small tasks. I stood there, feeling my chest rise and fall, feeling the baby move inside me. He finally looked at me, but not fully. His eyes were tired, heavy. He sighed slowly. It's complicated, he said quietly. It's not safe to go into details. That was all. He touched my hand softly, just brushing my fingers. His other hand rested gently on my belly. That touch made me want to lean into him, to disappear inside his chest and feel protected. I wanted comfort. I wanted to feel chosen. But his eyes, they did not hold mine. They were hiding something. Everything. And just like that, the room became more silent than if we had shouted at each other. I didn't scream. I didn't cry, not then. I just said softly, almost like I was speaking to myself, I can't keep pretending anymore. I'm not okay with this, with any of it. I did not raise my voice, but those words carried all the weeks I have been swallowing my fear. The feeling of being watched, of being left out. The quiet panic of loving someone and still not knowing what is happening in your own house, around your own child. The fight inside me between my love for him and the voice inside me warning me. He nodded, a little frustrated, like he wanted to say more but could not. He did not walk away. He did not shout. He just stood there with me. Close. Careful. My hand stayed on my belly. His rested above it. But even then, his mind felt far. Always somewhere else. We sat like that for a long time. I tried to talk about small things, the weather, the food I cooked, even a small joke I hoped would make him smile. The words just died between us. I went back to the couch, folded my hands over my stomach, and listened to his heartbeat when I leaned close. But all I could feel was the weight of things he was not saying. Later, he left the room saying he had work to do. The silence stretched again, filling every corner. I thought of calling my mother, or my friends, even Grace, just to hear a voice that is not hiding something from me. But I didn't call. I couldn't. I still love him. I still believe he loves me. But this silence, it has become too heavy. Even now, as I sit here, my hands are touching the small baby clothes arranged neatly on the table. I have started making quiet lists in my head. Where my passport is, where some cash is hidden, who I could call if I had to leave quickly. I have never lived like this before. Planning escape while living inside comfort. While being with a man who says he is protecting me. I saw something in his eyes. The part he refused to show me. The danger I feel but do not want to name. I have stayed because I love him. I have stayed because I believe he loves me. But I cannot close my eyes to the silence anymore. I don't know what is coming next. I don't know if I should go back home or if love is enough to remain here. All I know is this. Me and my child are not shadows. We are not invisible. And I must start opening my eyes to the truth myself, even if it hurts. I did not feel unsafe. I felt controlled. Nothing violent happened. And that is what frightened me most. After that conversation, the one where I finally opened my mouth and asked instead of acting like I don't already see, the house did not explode. Thabo did not shout. Nobody threatened me. Life just shifted, softly. At first, it was small things. The driver began standing nearer to the door before I even stepped out. The guards changed shifts more often. I started seeing cars outside the gate that I had never noticed before. Just parked there, engine running, then gone by evening. Nothing dramatic. Just there. I told myself I'm overthinking. Then small plans began disappearing. A walk we were supposed to take, not today, it's risky. A short outing, canceled, no explanation. I was told gently not to post pictures anymore. No locations, no tagging places. It was not said like a command. It was said like simple sense, like something obvious. And that is what made it harder to argue. Inside the house, everything felt arranged, prepared. Conversations would stop when I entered, not in a rushed way, just paused. One day, a worker laughed lightly and said, "We were told not to mention it," then immediately went quiet when they saw I was there. I started noticing how people spoke around Thabo, not directly to him, how every word was measured, how even I was beginning to measure mine. One afternoon, it entered my mind that there were rooms in this house I had never stepped into. Not locked, just never shown to me. Like some parts of this life are simply not mine to see. And still, this is the part that makes it confusing. He was gentle. He made sure I ate, asked if I swallowed my vitamins, adjusted the pillows when my back was paining. His hand would rest on my stomach whenever he passed near me, protective without thinking. At night, he would pull the blanket up around me like I might disappear if he didn't hold it there. But whenever I tried to talk properly, not small talk, but real talk, he would answer beside my question, around it, like there was a line I could not cross, even though I did not see it. "I've got you," he would say. And I believe that he believes it. I am just no longer sure what having me truly means. The strangest thing was how safe I was meant to feel. Cameras everywhere, guards, procedures explained casually to me, like lessons you give someone who might need them one day, but not today. My body felt protected. My heart felt outside, like I was living inside a system built to keep me safe, but not to include me. I did not panic. I did not cry. I just began noticing, remembering, where my passport is kept, which papers matter most, how much money I could reach if I needed it. I did not pack a bag. I did not say I am leaving. I just made a quiet list in my head, just in case. That is when it settled inside me. Not like fear, but like understanding. This is not about love finishing. The love is still there. Warm, known, real. This is about structure, about decisions happening around me, about protection without asking me, about being taken care of without being trusted. I still feel safest when he holds me, and most alone when he is deep in his thoughts. I did not make any decision that day. I did not ask him again. I did not call home, but I stopped waiting for reassurance. And once that happens, something inside you shifts, quietly. You understand that someone can protect you and still not set you free, and that understanding does not shout. It just sits there. My mother called again today. For some seconds, I almost let it ring. Not because I don't miss her, but because every time I see Mama on my screen, my chest tightens, like I am about to confess something I don't even understand properly myself. Mornings here in Johannesburg are too quiet inside this house, the kind of quiet that makes even your own breathing sound loud. I was in the kitchen when my phone started vibrating on the counter. The screen was shining with my mother's name. I just stood there watching it shake, like it was asking me for something I wasn't strong enough to give. But I answered. I always answer. She asked how I'm feeling, if I'm eating well, if the baby has started kicking properly. Simple questions. Loving questions. The same ones she has been asking since I told her I am pregnant, married, and living in a city she has never even stepped in. I told her I'm fine. I always say I'm fine. After we ended the call, I remained standing there, my hand on my stomach, the other still holding the phone like it might ring again and demand the truth from me. I am not lying to my family because I don't trust them. I am lying because I don't know how to explain my life anymore. How do you explain comfort that feels heavy on your chest? How do you explain protection that comes with rules you didn't choose? How do you explain love that lives inside walls you did not build? Later that afternoon, my father called. He has never been a man of many questions. He just listened as I talked about small things. The weather here, how big the house is, how the baby is growing. Sometimes he just made that small sound, the way fathers do when they want you to feel steady. Before he cut the call, he paused. Just a little too long. "You sound tired," he said. That was all. No advice, no warning. Just that. It sat inside my body like weight, like shame, like someone seeing through me without asking permission. In the evening, my young sister sent me a message. "When are you coming home?" Even if it's just to visit. I stared at that word, home, for a long time. It felt strange now, like something that used to belong to me. I typed 3 different replies and erased them. Finally, I sent something safe, something easy. Soon, maybe after the baby. She sent back a heart. I still cried. 2 days later, Grace called me. She has been my best friend since university. She knew me when I was broke, when I was dreaming, when I believed love alone could solve everything. She didn't ask about my marriage. She asked about my body. Are you resting properly? Does he help you when you're tired? Are you going to the doctor well? Each question was soft, not accusing. But together, they built something I couldn't ignore. At the end of the day, she said gently, "You are carrying a whole life inside you. That must come first, even before love." I told her I know. I told her I am okay. After we hung up, I sat on the bed and pressed my palm against my stomach, waiting for the baby to move, like maybe this child could answer the questions I keep avoiding. Then there was a message I did not expect. A friend I haven't talked to for months, not close enough to be gentle, not far enough to keep quiet. "I don't want to offend you," she wrote. "But are you safe?" I read that message again and again. No one had asked me like that before, so directly. I did not know what to say, so I said nothing. I turned my phone face down and felt my throat tighten like I had swallowed something too big. Since then, I have stopped posting, stopped sharing pictures. I take longer to reply, not because I have nothing to say, but because explaining feels like heavy work. Every conversation feels like an exam I didn't prepare for. Every question feels like it is peeling away something I have been trying so hard to keep together. At night, when the whole house is finally quiet, I pray. Not for clear answers, not even to escape. I pray for understanding, for strength to know the difference between being patient and slowly erasing myself. for wisdom to protect my child without destroying the love that brought this baby into the world. Sometimes I ask God to make everything clear. Other times, I ask him to let me stay unaware a little longer. I still love my husband. That has not changed. Loving him feels deep and real and complicated and true. But these days, loving him also feels like it needs my silence, like it needs distance from the people who raised me, like it needs explanations I cannot give without breaking something inside me that I am not ready to face. When everyone who loves you begins asking the same soft questions, silence no longer feels like protection. It starts to feel costly, and I don't know how much more I can afford to give. I realized I was invisible in my husband's own family. I don't know how to say this without sounding like I am not grateful, so let me just say it the way it felt in my heart. I was already tired before we even went. Tired of choosing which truth to reduce when my mother calls from home. Tired of telling Grace that everything is fine when she keeps quiet for a few seconds before saying congratulations. Tired of my friends in Uganda slowly keeping distance because my life now sounds like something from a movie to them. I can hear my mother's worry hiding inside simple questions. Even when she tries to laugh, I hear it. So I told myself this visit would make me feel settled, like I belong, like I have family here. It did not. His family was polite, very polite. Smiling, greeting me properly, calling me by the correct name. Pulling chairs, opening doors, everything done the right way. And still, with every step I took inside that house, I felt myself becoming smaller. Nobody was rude, but nobody was really curious about me either. They spoke around me, not to me. Conversations continued like I was just another sofa in the room. Decisions were mentioned when I was sitting there, but nobody asked what I think. I kept my hands folded in my lap because I did not know where else to put them. At the table, everything was arranged perfectly. Too perfectly. I noticed which plates people touched and which ones they did not. I noticed nobody asked me to help and nobody told me to sit. I was just there, not part of how things move. The staff were shifting glasses and napkins without asking me, without even looking at me. Not in a bad way. Just like I am not needed. At some point, one older cousin, I think, looked at me and asked very calmly, "Do you truly understand what you married into?" It was not loud. It was not said with anger. It was careful. So I answered carefully too. I said yes. I said I am still learning. I smiled, but the smile felt like something I have used many times before, even if I do not remember practicing it. There was a pause after I spoke. Not an uncomfortable one, a deliberate one. Then someone changed the topic. Later, I heard my name mentioned softly in another room. It was not gossip. It sounded more like people discussing something important. A comment that sounded like concern. About how pregnancy can be delicate. About how change can be too much for some people. About how some people need more guidance. My stomach tightened before my mind even understood why. I love my husband. I truly do. Watching him there, relaxed, at home, moving easily among them, it reminded me why I trusted him enough to leave everything and come here to Johannesburg. At one point, he put his hand on my back. Just small. A little squeeze. I leaned into it like it was the only steady thing in that room. But he did not interrupt anything. He did not correct anyone. He did not bring me inside the circle. And I do not think he even knew he was supposed to. As I was sitting there, I thought about home. About my mother who worries too much. About my father who talks very little but feels everything. About my friends who do not know what to say to me anymore but still try. They worry because they love me. His family worries about order, about things continuing the right way, about control. They were not wrong. They were just not for me. When we left, everything was still calm, still polite, still perfect. Back at the estate, he asked me if I am okay. I said yes. He kissed my forehead. He meant it. Later in bed, I put my hand over my stomach and felt that quiet, familiar H. Not pain, just awareness. He loves me. I know it. I believe it. But love did not give me a place. And that was the first time I understood that being protected and being included are not the same thing. I feel safest when he's holding me and loneliest when he's thinking. He brings the tray inside quietly, like he doesn't want to disturb the whole house. The soup is still hot, steam coming up slowly. He puts my vitamins next to it. The small cup of ginger tea he knows helps my stomach. He arranges everything where I can easily reach, fixes the pillow behind my back, then kisses my forehead gently. "Eat," he says in a low voice. I nod. I always nod. He waits a bit to see me start. Then he steps outside to answer a call. I hear the door close softly. I hear his voice change into that calm, controlled tone. That voice he uses for everyone else now. It doesn't really reach me anymore. He knows what my body needs. He does not ask what my heart and mind are carrying. I finish the soup alone. I tell myself it is okay. I tell myself this is love. Quiet, practical, dependable. I remind myself how far I have come. Uganda feels like another life now. That time when I used to count coins before buying tomatoes from the market. Now I stay in a house so big that if I walk fast, my footsteps echo. Even now, this soft life feels strange on my skin, like clothes someone lent me for a function that is not truly mine. When he comes back, he sits next to me and places his hand on my stomach, slow and protective. The baby moves, small and sudden. It still surprises me every time. His hand remains there longer, like he is holding himself steady. "You okay?" he asks. I say yes. I always say yes. He doesn't really look at me when he asks. His eyes look far, like he is already thinking about something else. I want to hold his face and turn it toward me, but I don't. The silence between us stretches. Not angry, just heavy. He brushes my hair back softly. It is gentle. It is familiar. It should make me feel better. Instead, my chest feels tight. We go to bed early, not because we are tired, but because there is nowhere else to place ourselves. The TV is on, talking in the background, but neither of us is following it. I move closer and rest my head on his chest. His heartbeat is steady, strong. It reminds me he is here, that he is real, that I am not dreaming and about to wake up in our small room back home, my sisters fighting over dresses. I try to breathe with his heartbeat until my shoulders relax. My body always relaxes before my thoughts do. He watches me when he thinks I am asleep. I know because I feel the change, the way his breathing shifts, the way his hand moves a little like he wants to pull me closer but stops. These days, there is something almost desperate in how he looks at my face, like he is trying to memorize me. I wish he would just talk. Later, he reaches for me. Not fast, not demanding, carefully, like I am something fragile. We do not speak. We do not need to. Everything is slow, soft, full of pauses. He keeps checking my face, my breathing, if I am comfortable. Every touch says I care. Every silence says don't ask. For some time it works. For some time I feel safe. After he holds me tight, his arm firm around my back, his chin resting on my head, I move my finger along his shoulder and listen to the quiet house around us. The night feels peaceful, almost normal. Then the silence comes back. It always comes back quickly now. He shifts a little and reaches for his phone. Not even to check anything, just to hold it, like habit, like something to stand between us. His mind leaves before his body does. I feel that small change when he is no longer fully with me, even though his arm is still around my waist. That is the part that pains me most. Not the danger, not the rules, not even the secrets. It is this, being held and still feeling alone. I do not think he is wicked. I do not think he wants to hurt me. I think he is afraid. I think he believes keeping quiet is protecting me. I think he believes if he carries everything alone, I will not suffer. But love without access starts to feel like a locked door. Before, I used to believe that as long as we still have moments like this, we would be fine. That as long as he still touches me like I matter, as long as he still shows up in these small, careful ways, everything else would arrange itself. Now, I am not sure. Because when he is holding me, I feel safer than I have felt the whole day. And when he is thinking, when his mind goes to the things he does not share, I have never felt more alone. I still believe in him. I trust that he loves me. I see it in the way he makes sure I eat, the way he remembers my clinic appointments, even if he cannot come, the way his hand goes to my belly like that is where it belongs. But trusting him is not the same as trusting this situation. Some nights, I stay awake long after he has slept and ask myself if this is what being strong means. Keeping quiet, accepting love in small pieces, convincing myself that being taken care of is enough even when being included feels impossible. I do not want to fight. I do not want to give ultimatums. I do not want to behave like I am dramatic. I only want to feel like I am inside my own life again. I still love him. I just do not know how long love can continue surviving like this. I realized I had to prepare, even if I wasn't ready to leave him yet. I don't think I have ever felt so small and so alert at the same time. Before, loving him felt like protection, like nothing bad could reach me. Now it just feels like a reminder that I can still be lonely, even when I am inside his arms and everything looks soft. Today, I spent the whole afternoon arranging the kitchen cupboards again. Not because they were messy, but because I started noticing how even the smallest things in that kitchen are not really mine. The knives were placed the way the staff prefers. The pantry is full of foods I don't even know how to cook. It is like I am visiting someone else's kitchen. I took my small Ugandan spices, cardamom, dried cassava, suya seasoning, and labeled them properly. I pushed them to the back where only I can see them. I lined up the tea bags I carried from home in my suitcase. Seeing those small pieces of my old life arranged neatly made me feel a bit steady. Like at least there is something in this house that answers to me. That is when it hit me that I need to start keeping track of more than just spices. My passport. Some small cash I can hide. The easiest exits in case I ever need to leave quickly. Not because I want to leave, at least not now, but because I understood I must be prepared. For myself, for my baby. He came back home late. He looked tired. His mind somewhere far. After supper, we sat on the couch. Our legs touched sometimes, but I could feel the space between us in the way his eyes passed over me instead of stopping. He touched my belly softly, like he was sorry for something he has not said. The silence between us felt heavy. I leaned my head on his chest and listened to his heartbeat. I tried to memorize the sound, because these days it is the only thing that feels steady in this big house. When he holds me, I feel safe. When he looks away, I feel how much I do not know, and how much I could lose. In my mind, I keep practicing small plans, how I would leave if I ever had to, where I would go, what I would carry. Nothing dramatic, just small steps. I imagine passing quietly near the guards, picking the things I have already marked in my head, walking down streets I have forced myself to remember. My thoughts keep repeating. If nothing changes, I might have to go. And now it does not feel like just imagination. It feels like a quiet promise I am making to myself. That loving him does not mean I close my eyes to what is missing. I still love him. I still believe in him. But I cannot believe in this situation anymore. I cannot pretend the rules I never chose are normal, the rooms I cannot enter, the plans that disappear without explanation, the silence that becomes heavier each day. And for the first time since I left Uganda, since I left my mother, my friends, my simple freedom, I felt like I was standing inside my own body again, not just living inside someone else's system. I don't know if I will ever be ready to leave him. Maybe I will never reach that point. But I know this. I cannot ignore the gaps anymore. So this is where I am now, arranging my spices carefully, counting exits quietly in my head, holding love in one hand and fear in the other.